Alright, our goal is to open up a brick and mortar store in the next 12 months. Crazy.
So we're gonna have to try and reverse engineer that. We're gonna need to find a way to grow our stock. We're gonna have to find a way to make a day-to-day income, and none of that is straightforward.
No, Mint Collective isn't a new thing. This is actually a really strange thing to be saying, but we're not starting from square one. We're actually technically starting from behind square one. Someone starting from scratch would actually technically be doing better than we. Let me explain. So essentially, we started a Whatnot business. We started a business in the TCG space. We started doing Whatnot, and it was actually working out for a period of time. With the help of our friend Max and the guidance of a few people who do Whatnot, we were actually able to be profitable quite substantially for a few months. We did a bunch of different formats on the app. We did breaks, we did surprise sets, we did single streams. Some were more successful than others, but I do want to show you guys what I mean when I say we're starting from behind zero. We actually have a page on Whatnot with 11,000 followers, and we've made a whopping £2, bro, let's go! No, I'm joking. Yeah, okay, let me show you this. So for context, my name's Adam. I run a YouTube channel called Gentle Dude, and through Gentle Dude, which does Pokemon content, I managed to get a brand deal with Whatnot. They essentially sponsored the start of our Pokemon TCG business. The first time we ever streamed on Whatnot was in May, and in May we did about £2,900 in sales. However, that was not all profit, and actually our profit margins back then were absolutely abysmal. We probably spent about £2,500 to make that £2,900. But let's fast forward a bit, because we started to learn a bit. We started to understand how Whatnot worked as a platform. We started doing breaks, we started doing surprise sets, and between June 2nd and June 16th 2025 we'd done 8.8k in sales. Now that sounds astronomical, but again, it wasn't great profit margins. We weren't ordering from the right sources. We were kind of just sourcing product as and where we could from the public. We didn't have any back-end channels. This was very much like us trying to learn on the job. But the more we learned, the better it got. And our biggest month ever, I'm gonna edit the days here, from August 31st until September 30th 2025, we did £27,000 in sales. And between August and September is when we really started to understand where our margins were. We built relationships with people who could sell us product a little bit cheaper than the regular market price, and all was good and well. And I'm sure you're watching this, by the way, thinking, oh, they must be balling. Bro, I promise you, everything that we made, we reinvested into growing this business. Gabe and I were obsessed. As you know, in the month of September, we made about £27,000, right? If we're looking at profit margins, we probably cleared about £10,000, maybe £15,000. Now, in October, we did a lot less. With the same amount of streams, the total amount sold was 17,000. See, Gabe and I made a few mistakes, a few of which we don't actually feel like we did anything wrong, because the more money we spent, the more money we made. And when I say that, I mean it was exponential. We found that there was actually a sweet spot. If we spent £1,000, we would make £1,500, whereas if we spent £2,000, we made £4,000. The reason for that being the quantity of product meant that we could do higher quality shows. We could rip more packs on stream, which in turn enticed higher bidding buyers. People were more likely to get involved in our streams because we were doing bigger and better giveaways. We were opening way more packs. And then it all came crashing down in the worst possible way either of us could have ever imagined. Between October and November 2025, we went from having a thriving Pokemon business to doing £1,600 in sales. Now, this is when Whatnot made a change. They openly said that they were going to stop pushing breaks because people who would just come onto the app didn't really understand what they were getting involved with. And when they didn't understand the format and they didn't end up walking away with a Charizard SIR from 151 for £5, they would get annoyed at Whatnot and they would delete the app and they would give it the worst reviews. So they made a change and they stopped pushing that format. And I understand why they did it. But this time, for the very first time ever, we spent more on stock and made infinitely less. So much so that we lost most of that money. But we had friends that were doing really well, so we thought, okay, we'll write it out, we'll try again, we'll just buy more stock with whatever money we do make back. Even though it's not going to be profit, we're going to be at a major loss, we can't lose this. December 2025, we made £105 in sales, and none of that was profit. After that, very unfortunately, we had to drop it. We couldn't afford to keep it going. Me and Gabe live in London. We're actually moving back to Scotland, but for now we do live in London. Rent was astronomically expensive. But throughout this period, not only did the TCG completely crash into the ground with our Whatnot business, but Gabriel had quit his job so that he could pursue this. So leaving 2025, Gabe was jobless. My YouTube channel was performing worse than it's ever performed before. And to put a hat on a hat, I also do music, and how I used to make money was by busking, literally singing on the street. And London London have pretty much illegalized that. So leaving 2025, Gabe and I were in the worst predicament we could have ever imagined. Gabe had no backup. Gabe had quit his job for this. My YouTube channel was wildly underperforming and I couldn't busk the two means of income that I've got. The TCG business had completely plummeted overnight. The snap of a Thanos finger and everything was taken away. And it pretty much got to the point where Gabe and I are now moving out of London. We've got to go back to Scotland. We're moving into my parents' place. And with a massively heavy heart, we pretty much all but decided that it's time to call it a day. Gabe and I climbed the mountain. We made a business out of it. We had our plan, but the plan got completely taken away from. It was our bad for not saving more money, but we could have never predicted that. And a lot of our friends did brave it out through the time that it was bad and they managed to revive. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to do the same thing and our hope was completely lost. But then Gabe and I looked each other in the eye and we thought we do have one final gambit. Interestingly, Gabriel and I still have marginally intact PCs and together they're worth quite a lot of money. We've decided that if we were to liquidate it / use it for stock at shows, we can give this one final gambit, one big push. To get to a brick and mortar store, we're going to need to create a day-to-day income, which we're hoping will come through streaming. We need to create a brand, which is the content and, you know, Mint Collective. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram. We're going to need to figure out how to expand our stock, like probably vending. And the only way that we can create the capital to do that is by selling our personal collections. We do have some really cool cards in there and it will be sad to see them go, but realistically, we're lucky enough to be pretty close to a guy called Max. He's got a YouTube channel called Max Does Pokemon and he sold his PC initially to launch his whole Pokemon career. It's a small sacrifice. It will be sad to see a lot of these cards go, you know, the Glass Birds, the Celebi, the ADP. Our problem with the Whatnot stuff was that it was very one-dimensional. The Whatnot was the business. That didn't really have means to turn into a shop or to vending or to creating a brand or any of that. It was just Whatnot. This time round, we're going to give it a real shot. We're going to do everything. We're going to create short-form content, long-form content. We're going to freaking try and vend at as many shows as we possibly can, even from freaking Scotland. We're going to try and buy cards to grade. We're going to sell through Discord. We're going to buy all over the place. And we do have a kind of marginal plan on how we're going to do this, but I'll let Gabe walk you through most of that. I hope you guys enjoyed the journey, man. This is a really, really treacherous moment that you guys are jumping in on. You are seeing me and Gabriel at our worst. We are flat broke moving back to Scotland. Oh man, it's so tough, but we're going to do it. We're going to be fine. It'll be all right. But I hope you guys join the journey because it's going to be mad.
We've decided to start selling singles and whatnot, and we're going to start with the kind of low-end stuff. So I've set up a pretty cool deal with one of our friends that lives pretty near us, and I'm going to be trading them this slab in return for some singles that he's got for us. So I'm going to go get my shoes on and head over to his place, and we're going to do the swap, and I'm going to come back and show you what I've got. I got it! Okay, so we ended up doing a pretty hefty deal where I got a lot of singles. Since we're trying to expand our stock at the same time, I actually took in some singles that were slightly bigger, as well as the singles that we want to sell and whatnot. These were some of the bigger stuff that we got in, as well as this fat stack of English singles. Now with our friend, I only picked up English. One of the things I really wanted to hone in on for this stream was to assess how English cards do versus Japanese. The main prerogative for the first show isn't to actually just make profit. I wanted to see what sells, and that's why when I picked the cards to trade for that slab, I was very considerate. I wanted to take in a lot of cute cards as well as random full arts and things like that, just to see how different cards perform. I am literally just doing field research essentially. One thing we really did right when we did Whatnot initially was giveaways. I decided to throw in this slab from our personal collection because it wasn't something too expensive, but it was something cool enough that it might bring in buyers. While it was pretty convenient that I could go pick up those English ARs and do that deal with my friend in person, the deal we made for the Japanese ARs was actually over on our Instagram, which means we've got to wait for them to arrive. In the meanwhile, I created the new account, which just meant that I had to change the name of the old one so that we could keep our name. The only unfortunate part is now we don't have all of those followers as a backing for, you know, the trustworthy credentials. So while I am hoping that we do make profit, it's also important that we start gaining some more followers and get a reputation around us. Okay, so it's currently the next day and I just got an email saying that the Japanese order has arrived. So I'm going to head downstairs and then we're going to take a look at what we got, because quite frankly, I kind of forgot what was in that deal that we did. Package has been secured, so let's get this thing opened and actually see what's inside, because this is going to be as much of a mystery for me as it is for you. Aside from a couple dupes, it seems like we've got a pretty good selection, a good variation of ARs from like a lot of the modern sets, which was, I mean, exactly what we were after.
Oh, Japanese singles have arrived. Oh, there's some cool ones.
Yeah,
there's some
there
like
is.
new ones as well.
Yeah, dude.
Have you looked in here now?
No, I haven't.
Hello, lads. This is good. This is really good. although they're not even sleeved.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
We should sort them into bundles because I'm already seeing quite a lot of dupes here.
Yeah, same. It's not as much dupes as I kind of remember.
You've not looked in this. There's a lot of dupes, bro. But it's good.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of like Ascended and Phantasmal ARs.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing as well, which is good.
So Adam and I are going to take a little bit of time to sleeve things up, and from there we're going to separate the dupes and then come up with the order that we're going to be running the singles on the stream.
Weirdly, this took a lot more time than we thought it would, but beyond that, it was actually really, really worth it because we took the dupes and we decided rather than running them individually, we would essentially try and create these little sort of binder filler packages. So we'd do like little bundles of 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 ARs that felt like they fit within the same sort of page. And as you'll see later, when we applied that in the second stream, bro, it made the world of a difference. So it was Gabe's job to go ahead and make the Whatnot thumbnail. And I don't know if you've been on Whatnot recently, but the thumbnails are freaking AI slop. No personality, and it's all just sell, sell, sell. And in my experience, what really wins is when you connect to someone and you build a relationship with the buyers. That's how we grew the other page to 11,000 followers. It's how I've grown my YouTube channel to 90,000 subscribers. And so Gabe and I decided to take another approach. Gabe took the thumbnails from Whatnot and decided to do something completely against the grain, make our own thumbnail that was very clear, very obvious what we're selling and stood out from the crowd. And then beyond that, it was Gabe's job to go ahead and set up the physical, which is what people see when they go on the Whatnot stream. Luckily for me, Gabe's amazing at that stuff. I'm crap. So he went ahead, he set up all the physical, and the stream was ready to go.
To Whatnot shows later.
So the way the Whatnot went was super strange. After 2 shows, we've got 362 followers, which is amazing. However, if I show you guys exactly how it went, right? The first stream did £163 in sales, of which we saw £118. Now this stream, we actually went in the red. We lost out pretty heavy, especially because we gave away a £35 slab. But even beyond that, I don't think we made money that stream. However, we did another stream literally yesterday, and in that stream, it was astronomical, bro. We had like 60 viewers almost the whole time. We ran singles. There were some buyers who spent £70, £40, whatever. But the main takeaway is that was profitable. The second stream was profitable for sure. And not only that, when you start a Whatnot page as a seller, they actually match your first £150 so long as you hit that within the first week of starting your account, which fortunately we did. So Whatnot are actually going to give us an extra £150 on top of all of the money that we've made. So this £394, we'll call it, is actually essentially £550, which is kind of astronomical. I can say with chest that we did not put £550 in, let you guys know exactly what we spent versus what we came away with, so that we know if this is actually a successful trajectory to start our business. Regardless, it's so exciting, and the fact that we're actually making money in any streams right now, we kind of expected to be in the red for like 3 weeks to a month maybe, because that's how it was on the first Whatnot that we ran. Obviously, we do know how to run a bit better, we know how to present a bit better, we know how to do the whole thing. We know about the giveaways, we know about the freaking big buyers giveaway, like giving away a slab every stream. So I guess that kind of fast-tracked us to making some kind of profit. I don't expect this to be every single stream, but the fact that we're walking away with £394 and then an extra 150 that Whatnot are gonna match means that I am super optimistic. But not only that, the fact that in 2 streams we got a new account from 0 followers to 360 followers without promoting it anywhere, bro, I'm calling that a success. Obviously, the problem with a TCG business is it's not one-dimensional. There are like 7 facets to this. We're planning on starting an eBay business. We want to vend more. The goal is to get to a shop, and to do that, you need to monetize every potential avenue that you can in this niche. So obviously, we're going to keep going with this, and I'll keep you guys updated with how that's going. So I'll throw up on the screen exactly what the number is in terms of what we spent and what we made in this episode. Hopefully the money that we made exceeds the money that we spent. But even if it didn't, we're gonna truck on. Guys, follow our other socials. We've got Instagram, we've got TikTok, we've got obviously Whatnot, and I will see you all in the next episode where we are vending. Catch you in a bit.